Hello, everyone, and welcome to Money Talks. This is our special Christmas Eve edition. Thanks to the Abra team working overtime to make this happen for all of us. So normally we have a special guest on Money Talks. We're going to do things a little different today. We're going to have an abbreviated show. I'm going to use the first few minutes of the show to tell you about Abra's 12 Pays of Christmas giveaway. So we're going to give 12 lucky Abra users who watch today's episode of Money Talks $30 in CPRX. Now, for those of you who don't know what Money Talks is all about, Money Talks is our opportunity to have a weekly conversation about everything happening in the world of crypto, crypto investing, crypto technology. We'll do a little bit of TA by looking at the charts. We'll get into that in a few minutes. The latest news. We often have guests on. And as I said, it's Christmas Eve. We're all feeling festive. We want to get to our families. We're going to do it a little differently today. It's going to be a little shorter. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do a little giveaway. Let's talk about how this giveaway is going to work. So the giveaway is going to work a little differently than what we've done in the past. We will not accept submissions from people who put their wallet ID in the live stream chat. Please do not put your wallet ID in the live stream chat. What it's doing is it's blocking us from being able to do our AMA and answer questions. So please stop putting your wallet ID in the live stream chat. I don't know if I can say it again without vomiting, but please stop doing that. I don't want to start blocking people. Okay, to enter the giveaway, fill out the form in the description below. There's only one entry per person. Do not put your ID in the live stream chat. Some of you are not listening and you're still putting your ID in the chat. I'm going to have to start blocking you. Anyway, you must enter the form. You must fill out the form between 9 a.m. Pacific and 9:45 Pacific time. That means basically you have 43 more minutes to fill out the form. Okay, and you should see the form in the chat. I think there's going to be a QR code as well. So please get on it. All right. And let's see. So after the show, the Abra team will review the entries and choose 12 winners totally randomly. Only users who enter their ID into the form, right, while the show is live will be eligible. Again, do not put your wallet ID here. It is not going to help you and it hurts me. So we've had an overwhelming response to our recent giveaways, and we want to ensure you that everyone who has earned C-Perks is getting their payouts. Today's winners will receive C-Perks by mid-January. So sometime around January 15th, you will receive your C-Perks, okay? Once the winners are selected, we'll let everyone know on our social media channels. Do not contact support if you have C-Perks distributions pending. It will not make it happen any faster. And please stop putting your wallet IDs in the live chat. Thank you for your support. All right, peace and love. So I'll give you my take on the crypto markets in just a bit, take your questions. Here's a look at what you can do with Abra. All right, welcome back to our special Christmas Eve edition of Money Talks. Hopefully you all filled out the form. It's in the YouTube description. Please stop filling out or putting your wallet ID in the live chat. Again, that will help us when we get to the AMA. Some of you are not listening and you're still doing it. Please stop. Okay, so I want to talk about some news. I want to give you a quick recap of what I think is probably some of the more important things going on in the world of crypto. So let me start with the latest and greatest here. Let me bring up some notes, but it's been a pretty interesting week. Jack Dorsey. How do I start with my friend Jack Dorsey? So I met Jack years ago when he started Square, and it was still called Squirrel. Most of you probably don't even know that it had a kind of a temporary name called Squirrel before they launched as Square. And boy, has he changed over the years. And since resigning as CEO of Twitter, he really has come out swinging. So he caused an uproar on social media this week after he tweeted a series of critiques against Web3 startups for being predominantly owned and controlled by VCs, which is just nuts. He wrote Web3 is ultimately a centralized entity with a different label. In the context of crypto, Web3 is basically an industry of blockchain-based apps meant to replace the internet with a decentralized and permissionless narrative and alternative, which I totally support, from whether it's social media, file storage. Web3 is envisioned to host many of the same services as the internet as we know it today, but without centralized entities controlling access and owning the data. Sounds very reasonable to me. And we need venture capitalists today to make these investments because honestly, the public is not in a position to do that. And so in particular, he singled out Andreessen Horowitz, known online as A16Z, for basically being its main supporter and spewing corporate controlled lies. And wow, I mean, boy, has this guy really come out swinging since he's left Twitter and no longer feels that the shackles are on him. Yeah. So let's see. So what else do I see here? Uniswap is launching on Polygon. Whoa, this is cool. So Uniswap has gone live on Polygon. Matic has reached an all-time high. Maybe we'll take a look at Matic, which you can obviously get on Abra. And let's see, Uniswap version 3 has been deployed to the Polygon POS network. Final approval last week, and my take is about time. So there was a prior proposal to deploy Uniswap on Polygon. The community didn't agree with the proposal. Anyway, many at the original point believed that users would flock to layer 2s to escape Ethereum's high gas fees. That did not play out, just as I predicted that it would not. And Optimism delayed the mainnet launch several times and limited the projects to those that were whitelisted, while Arbitrum, which has a more complete ecosystem, has been relatively slow to pick up. Anyway, so as I said, instead users opted for alternative layer 1s that were offering massive incentive programs at both launch, both the platform and application levels. And Uniswap is still the largest decentralized exchange. You can actually buy and sell C-Perks, for example, on Uniswap. It saw its market share slip as SushiSwap and other forks met user demand. Anyway, this is super, super bullish in my opinion for Uniswap and for Matic. So congrats to the team there. Ethereum 2.0 testnet has launched, right on. So anyone can now experiment and familiarize themselves with the next major iteration of Ethereum. It's named after the Japanese art of mending broken pottery. Kintsugi, I think I'm saying it right. Kintsugi is one of the final test networks to launch before Ethereum undergoes its full transition to a fully proof of stake consensus protocol. So this transition, which we call a merge, will fuse together the current Ethereum network with the beacon chain. And Ethereum's proof of stake network launched back in December 2020. So while the original plan for the merge was to migrate users and decentralized applications to the beacon chain, the upgrade will now create a bridge between the two networks so that transactions initiated on Ethereum are finalized on the beacon chain. Okay, so unlike the 4 test nets that were launched prior, Kintsugi is the first merge-specific network that is open for all users to join and is expected to stay running as protocols developers activate the merge on long-running Ethereum-specific test nets, such as Gurley and Rinkeby and others. Okay, so our take here is really simple. it's been 7 years coming, the activation for proof of stake. And after these long 6+ years, this highly anticipated upgrade is nearing its final stages of testing and development. And Kintsugi represents a stable and live version of Ethereum's protocol post-merge. Super, super cool. And due to the bullish price activity of ETH and the rise of this whole kind of MEV narrative over the last year, mining has become increasingly lucrative on Ethereum. However, post-merge, miners will no longer be able to compete for rewards on the Ethereum network and Beacon. Chain validators will begin to earn what was once miner revenue from fees, right, and MEV, or this maximal extractable value. And as such, for miners that have invested in hardware to earn rewards, it's likely that some will repurpose their machine. Now, my take, this is interesting, right? Because I've talked about Render on other shows, and I think it's an interesting coin. And I think Render is going to get the benefits from a migration to proof of stake, as a lot of this hardware gets repurposed for 3D Metaverse applications. We will see. But as I said, mining on Ethereum is going bye-bye. And as for the validators, the merge is likely to boost their earnings by as much as 25% from the 8% they're at now. So, but though none of these earnings will be liquid until a subsequent upgrade enables transfers and withdrawals of Ethereum on the Beacon chain. So big happenings on Ethereum, super exciting. Congrats on the 2.0 upgrade. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some of my kind of favorite stories for the year. So before I get into the charts, I'm actually going to share my screen here. See if I can do this. Yeah, so a super fun year. Let me start out. Got to start out with people, right? You can't talk about what's going on in 2021 without talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which enable ownership of digital assets, exploded into the public consciousness this summer after Beeple sold a piece of art named Every Days, the first 5,000 days, for $69 million. You heard me right, $69 million. The term was named Word of the Year by Collins Dictionary and saw artists, celebrities, brands, basically everyone. If you were in Miami for Art Basel, you realize I mean everyone was piling on. Trading NFTs reached a dizzying 22 billion this year, compared with 100 million last year. So crazy. All right. Now, what comes next? Well, obviously, if we're going to talk about this year, we've got to talk about inflation, right? Bitcoin's bull case continued to strengthen. Fears about inflation and traditional currency debasement were major drivers of at least the narrative. I don't think that they necessarily caused the Bitcoin rally, but global inflation soared to its highest levels since 1982, caused an uptick in the price of energy, shelter, food, other consumer goods, et cetera, et cetera. And it looks like inflation is not going to disappear anytime soon. And this transitory narrative is dead and buried finally. And if you've been following me on Twitter for a few months, you know that as soon as I heard the word for the first time, I lost my shit, because it was never transitory, and it's just going to get worse. I think there will be bouts of basically inflation falling with kind of recessionary pressures. But by and large, the money printing will lead to massive price increases in the coming years. It's only a matter of time until we see if Bitcoin's digital gold hypothesis and potential as a store of value is recognized. But in any case, it's clear that it's a better savings technology than government printed money. Okay, China went full ham and outright banned crypto mining, crypto brokering, crypto exchanges, access to traditional financial services for all crypto firms. Here is an abandoned mining facility in Sichuan, China. The move saw miners uproot and move to the west, with Kazakhstan, Russia, Canada, USA receiving the majority of these digital expatriates. So Chinese miners previously accounted for 75% excuse me, 75% of the world's Bitcoin hash rate. The total computational power used to mine and process crypto transactions. Did China hand over an enormous stake in one of the most valuable technologies? I think they did. I think the miner migration will turn out to be one of the largest blunders in Chinese policy modern history, right? If you go back to kind of the 70s when they set the tone for their kind of modern version of controlled capitalism, this will turn out, along with all of the other tech bans, to be one of the worst decisions in the history of the country. All right. So, at the same time, while this was happening, right, Bitcoin was plummeting, it formed this death cross that you see at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to talk about this for a moment because this is interesting. Traditionally, a death cross happens when the short-term moving average falls below the long-term moving average, and this is usually very, very bearish for crypto. Or I'm sorry, not for crypto, but for other assets like stocks and other things that use moving average indicators. However, for Bitcoin, it's usually had the opposite effect. So once this death cross happened back in July, Bitcoin rallied over 50%, and it just happened again. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so let's see what else. Retail traders banded together on a large scale to influence the price of meme coins and stocks. GameStop, remember GameStop? They received significant media attention back in February. The company's stock price skyrocketed due to a short squeeze orchestrated by users of the internet forum called r/Wall Street Bets. And similar tactics were employed in crypto land, where Doge, Shiba Inu all became household names and created overnight millionaires and billionaires, and also caused a lot of people to go broke when they crashed. Influential people with masses of Twitter followers, such as Musk and Dorsey, kept the party going. Musk even suggested that Dogecoin might be the future currency of Earth. The lesson of this bizarre stretch of crypto history is that social media is a force that is impossible to ignore, right? Be very careful who you follow on social media. Do not make your investment decisions based upon, just one or two people you follow on social media. Do your own homework. All right. So speaking of doing some homework here, let's talk about the metaverse. Everyone is now talking about the metaverse. Everyone in technology, entertainment, fashion has rushed to stake their claim on the metaverse. Facebook rebranded as Meta in November. Firms like Nike, Baidu, Microsoft have jumped on the metaverse bandwagon. So gaming tokens like Axie Infinity, Sandbox, Decentraland, which you can get on Abra, rose to fame with eye-watering returns. So few seem to agree exactly what the metaverse is, but what's important is that it's coming. Much of the metaverse, the hypothesized kind of next iteration of the internet or Web3, is based on crypto and NFT technology. Okay. So this metaverse idea is coming. So, and I don't think we're going to be able to stop it. Just like we didn't stop the iPhone, we didn't stop Android phones or smartphones. I don't think you're going to stop the next generation of consumer retail user interfaces. They're already being used by many enterprises in automotive and healthcare, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, venture capitalists bet big on crypto in 21. They put more than 27 billion globally into crypto companies this year, more than the previous 10 years combined. So the euphoria is obviously here. Abra obviously was a big beneficiary of that. You probably remember we raised 55 million and actually a little bit more, which we'll talk about soon. But big shout out to Ignia, Blockchain Capital, Kingsway, and obviously all of the backers for Abra. Pretty fun. Obviously, we also launched C Perks, Soon after that, Crypto Perks is the Banking Alliance's new tokens, CPerks, and Abra has adopted CPerks as our rewards token. We've got a lot of announcements. I mean, a lot of announcements coming out about CPerks in the coming weeks. So that was super fun. The infrastructure bill, right? So let's remember the infrastructure bill. And all of this obviously related to government oversight of crypto. Regulators, governments, all set their sights, the eye of Mordor on crypto this year. Watchdogs came after retail exchanges like Binance. Biden squeezed this controversial tax reporting requirement into his infrastructure bill. And of course, the SEC under Gary Gensler, got way more vocal about their desire to be the big brother of crypto. And while the incoming regulation doesn't look great in the short term, as it creates uncertainty and leads to volatility, but in the long term, it's probably a good thing because it will hopefully create clarity on how we all operate in this kind of new crypto Web3 metaverse. All right. In any case, it means crypto is just too big to ignore. Pension funds, insurers, sovereign wealth, BlackRock, they all have a huge impact on crypto and the price going forward. And that is a good thing, right? It is accessible to everyone. It is the great leveler. You now have access to investments that the large hedge funds are making themselves. All right, let's see. I talked about, and of course, we wouldn't, can't talk about institutional adoption without mentioning JP Morgan hitting the headlines over the summer. They announced that half a dozen crypto funds would be available to their high net worth investors. Then we had the Bitcoin ETFs. ProShares ETF had 1.2 billion of inflows. This was insane. I don't get it, but it is what it is. And then, of course, speaking of insanity, we had El Salvador's move into crypto. El Salvador became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. Now, this has been fantastic for the Bitcoin digerati, who obviously are all in. I would say it has done nothing for the people of El Salvador to date. We'll see if that changes, but it has certainly created a groundswell around the president of the country. I've made my feelings on this fairly plain. I have no problem if the people of El Salvador want to use Bitcoin. I don't think it needs to be in any law. I think that's kind of orthogonal to the idea of Bitcoin, but time will tell and we'll see. Okay, let's see. So we saw a whole bunch of Ethereum killers try to emerge this year, right? As I mentioned earlier, Ethereum activated its London hard fork. It was a big deal. The idea, of course, was that the London hard fork would have a kind of a smoothing effect on the very high gas fee prices in the Ethereum system. Okay, so enough of that. Going to stop sharing that. So those are my kind of takes on this year. We'll have more recap of this year as we get into our shows for next year. But before we get to the charts, I just want to remind you, please like and subscribe on the YouTube video below. Yeah, if you've still got gifts to get, you can use Abra to buy crypto for Christmas. And if you want to share some crypto with friends for Christmas, you can give someone $25, right? And they get $25 and you get $25 for yourself for free. And here's how with our referral video. Check it out. All right, let's go to the charts. So as I'm bringing up the screen share here, a few things, right? So, obviously many kind of talking head pundits in crypto thought that we were going to go to the moon in December. That has not played out. This is the monthly chart for Bitcoin going back to summer of 2017. You can see it's still in a very bullish posture. New highs in November, kind of slight retracement, but we have not made a lower low right here versus the October, September lows. In technical analysis, that means we're still in a long-term bullish posture. If I go to the weekly chart, right, it's not as bullish, although this week has been excellent recovery with an engulfing pattern so far. Now we've got 2.5 days left in the week, according to the calculations on this chart, but we've still made a higher low versus the lows here. So from a technical analysis perspective, that is bullish. And if the trend continues, we would be somewhere up here in Q2 of next year. But to me, this setup looks incredibly bullish with a few exceptions. Now, my biggest concern is the daily chart. Now, it's looking better than it did before, right? So here's Bitcoin on the daily. We're in a bit of a tug of war today. I'll get to the hourly in a moment, but it certainly recovered nicely with a 4.5% move yesterday. We're not out of the water yet until I see a move above, let's say 53,000, which is above this 128-day moving average, which to me is a key moving average, and also represents, I believe, kind of the average where people are basically in the money on short-term crypto purchases. I think Bitcoin is at risk. The bigger problem, in my opinion, is if when we fell below the 200-day moving average via that death cross in July, or in September, we bounced off of it. And we're at new highs within a month. We literally went up 50% in a month. Here, if we fall below the 200-day moving average, right, there's nothing but clean air below, and we could see Bitcoin fall precipitously before recovering. And if you go back to the monthly chart, there's still a fair amount of room to go down before we go up and still be in a bullish posture. However, if history repeats itself, as I said earlier in the show, we had this death cross event happen again. And the last time it happened, Bitcoin mooned. It looks like it's going to happen again. And we'll see. But it's shocking to me that Bitcoin is that one asset where a death cross actually seems to have the reverse effect. In the very short term, right, it's been a bit of a tug of war. The last 3 or 4 hours, you can see we had a pullback to almost 50,500. And then in the same 1 hour candle, we recovered. And we had a bit of a short-term reversal candle. So we're in this tug of war after yesterday's big run-up, which tells me that this is a consolidation pattern on lower volume. Consolidation patterns usually, as I've told you before, or continuation patterns often are on lower volume. And often that is a sign of a pending continuation of the prior move, which in this case is up, which would tell me that once this plays itself out, the next leg could very well be up. All right. So my prediction, for what it's worth, is that Bitcoin is going to slowly recover from the early December pullbacks going into Q1. And then we go much, much higher in Q2. What hasn't really happened yet is massive a short squeeze based upon over leveraged shorts. And I think that's coming, but I think it's coming in January and February, probably February, honestly. So just be patient. And lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't look at Ethereum. Ethereum's, that's my daily on Bitcoin. Oh, I lost my Ethereum. Let me bring up Ethereum. All right, so here's the daily chart on Ethereum, looking as bullish as ever in the short term. July through September, new highs, pullback. Late September through early November, new highs, pullback. Really, I think if we get any kind of recovery in Bitcoin, we're going to see 5,600 to 6,000 Ethereum. Super bullish on Ethereum right now. I'm now in about 50-50 in my allocation between Bitcoin and Ethereum. I may actually end up moving a bigger piece of my allocation over to Ethereum in the coming weeks. We'll see how that plays out, but I'm very happy with the allocation right now. Okay, so that's more or less what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of other L1s. I mentioned Matic earlier. Let me bring up the chart on Matic. I'm super excited about that one. Yeah, let's see. So this has been a phenomenal run. Now remember, December was pretty bearish for crypto, and we went from, let's see, December started at $1.80, and we're now at $2.54. Yesterday we were at $2.60. So pretty bullish month and a pretty bullish technical chart for Matic. You can see here in December, overall the volume has picked up versus November, whereas the volume is down for Bitcoin. So a super bullish relative strength for Matic. Luna has been going nuts. Hope to get you all Luna very soon. And Abra, basically it's gone from 38 to 96 in December. So just crazy movements. Actually, no, it already was in 50, sorry, at the beginning of, excuse me, it's the beginning of December. All right, losing my voice and the parties haven't even started yet. Okay, so let's see, Mana, right? Yeah, so Mana looks like it's consolidating, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next alt move basically shows new highs for Mana in the 6 to 7 range. It's consolidating on lower volume. Generally, that means it's not going to fall too much more. Well, in this particular case, it looks like it's recovering a little bit, but like I said, it looks like it was way overbought. Interesting pullback, made a higher low versus the swing lows in November, which is what you want to see. Super volatile. So if you trade Mana, if you trade Matic, if you trade Luna, be very careful. Small amounts of money, be ready to get out. It's not a long-term buy and hold for me, but it is good for a trade if you're into that. Okay. All right. So before we get to let me see one more thing. Let me see what's happening for Bitcoin before we head out. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of still recovering. This tug of war, we call this a spinning top. So let me go back to the hourly. You can see here it's topping out. In the daily, it looks like a spinning top. When you see this spinning top, which is the long line with the little line in the middle, that means there's a tug of war and you've kind of reached a short-term equilibrium. And when you're in a middle of an up movement from the previous couple of days, that's actually a very good thing. All right. So thank you for your patience on that. I'm going to stop. Where is it? I'm going to stop the screen share if I can find it. There we go. And so before we get to find my notes. Yeah. So before we get to the AMA, I just want to show you a quick video on how you can use Abra to earn interest on your crypto. All right, let's hit it. Okay, welcome back. So we were hoping to do a 30-minute show today, and we're already at 35 minutes. So I'm going to take a couple of questions, and we'll have some fun with this, and I'll throw in some commentary. Please do not post your wallet ID in the live chat. I'm trying to sort through this and find some questions. If you're abusing the live chat, we're going to ban you and block you, and I don't want to do that. Okay. All right. Let's see. So a lot of people asking about getting CPerks distributions. Please do not contact support if you haven't received a CPerks distribution. It can take up to a couple of weeks or even 3 weeks in some cases. And it is not helpful if all of you contact support for that. So let's see. A lot of people asking about the price of CPerks. I didn't want to get into it in the technical analysis because CPerks is so new. So I would kind of ignore the price out of the gate from a couple of weeks ago. I think that basically it was a little bit of euphoria. And I think the price is settling in right now around 10 cents. And that's pretty reasonable. That puts CPerks at a market cap of $300 million. Now, remember, this is an asset, a commodity that didn't exist. This is a new utility token that didn't exist 2 months ago. And now it's got a market capitalization of $300 million. That's pretty fast and probably faster than 99% of the other cryptocurrencies reached the $300 million market cap in their history. Okay. So pretty cool what's happening with CPerks. I am really bullish on the future of CPerks. I'm working on a lot of projects with my team right now that will take advantage of CPerks, and CPerks is the center of a lot of what we're going to be doing at Abra in the future. And I'm actually buying some myself. I'm a large holder because I earned it just like you did. There was no token sale or gift to employees. I actually earned it using Abra Earn, just like all of you, and I've been buying it in the Abra app. So I'm a big fan. You can actually see what CPerks you've been awarded by clicking on the icon in the middle of the Abra app. So if you go to the Abra trade at the top, you have the history there. Anytime you are granted CPerks, it actually shows up in your history. And I'm looking at it now just to confirm that I see it. Yeah, Abra Perks reward, Abra Perks reward. I'm looking at my own history, Abra Perks reward. So yeah, I'm getting lots of Abra Perks rewards for my trades and also for my Abra Earn. Please stop posting your wallet IDs in the live chat. You're not helping me. I'm trying to find more interesting questions. If you post a question to support on when you're going to get your CPerks, you're probably not going to get a response. We are inundated with questions right now, and we're focusing on questions for people with real support issues. So if you're waiting for a CPerks distribution, I would encourage you not to contact support and just be patient. Also getting all of the standard questions about adding specific tokens. I generally try not to comment on that because it's not just up to me. But inside the app, when you go to add token, and if you search for the token that you want to add and you don't find it, you can actually click on a button to recommend that Abra add a token. And I strongly encourage you to do that. We do look at that and take that into account. And let's see. People are asking me about some of the other projects using CPRX. I'm not going to comment on that today. I'm going to save that for another show. I'm super excited about what we're doing there. I don't want to give it all away. And let's see. I'm going to try to take some non-CPerks questions here, although you guys are crazy for CPerks. I do appreciate that. Me too. So let's see what else we got. What are the other cryptos? Yeah, more questions on what cryptos we're going to add. More questions about listing CPerks and other exchanges. I know it's coming on other exchanges. I don't control that, but I do know that they are having discussions to list CPerks on other exchanges, and I look forward to that myself. Vishal asks, can I show my trading portfolio? Vishal, no, I cannot. I've been asked for personal security reasons not to be putting that up on the screen. So sorry about that, but I can tell you that I am irresponsibly long Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I have all of my liquid cash in Abra Earn, earning interest. And And Brian, good question. Where can we find the write-up of how CPerks is rewarded for transactions in your Abra account? So two things. One, if you click on the FAQ in the support section of the app, it'll explain how CPerks is rewarded. You can also click on the icon in the upper right of the app, which shows you your status within the CPerks program. And if you scroll to the bottom of that screen, it'll show you, maybe I can share that actually while I'm doing this, but it'll actually show you how you're earning CPerks and what your reward levels are. So I'll see if I can share my screen while I'm doing this. That might be helpful. And iPhone share. Anyway, so while I'm doing this, let me see if there's another question here. Oh, there it is. All right, so I'm going to share. I think you can see. So this is my Abra Earn screen, right? So you can see my CPerks balance, all earned through Abra Earn. How do I earn rewards? And Brian, it shows you right here on the screen, 2.5% cash back on every trade, 5% bonus yield on all funds that I deposit, 5% on all loans, get $15 when I deposit $15 as a new user. And you can see my loyalty tier is the to the moon level because I am such a large holder of CPerks. So you can see for yourself where you're at in the app. It's very, very cool. Okay. All right. So enough of that. A couple more questions, and then we'll give you your Christmas Eve back. When do I think Web3 will be adopted by the masses? That's a question from Robert. Robert, that's a great question. You know, it means different things to different people, but I would say that Web3, as it relates to, you know, kind of like Metaverse, VR, AR applications, is probably a few years out. I would say Web3, as it relates to decentralization, is happening right now, right? And all of the services that are being rebuilt on top of decentralized protocols, whether it's File IO or, you know, decentralized versions of social media apps or DeFi. To me, those are all Web3 services, and I'm super excited about that. And that will basically lay the groundwork for other forms of the metaverse or other aspects of the metaverse in the future. Let's see. So I'm done for today with the CPerks questions. And let's see. How do I feel? Let's see. So lots of questions about our competitors being contacted by the regulators and getting cease and desist orders. Abra has never had a cease and desist order by any state. We operate Abra Earn through a trust bank, which I believe is very different than what our competitors do. I'm not a lawyer, but I think this has been very well thought through in terms of how it was implemented. And we stand by what we've done. And so I think you can be pretty confident in how Abra has implemented Abra Earn. And you'll see lots more on the kind of banking front for Abra next year. It's one of the things I spend a lot of time on. Magatica says, make Abra in dark mode and in Spanish. And yes, I want both. So Spanish is coming. I can confirm that in Q1 you will be able to use Abra in Spanish. So yay, right on for our Spanish speaking friends. And that will be the basis for launching Abra in lots of languages, starting with Spanish. Okay, it's been a long time coming. I apologize that it's taken so long, but our team is super busy. And, you know, honestly, Abra has changed a lot over the years. And we wanted to get Abra to a point where we were really comfortable that it was stable and the user experience was not going to change much. And now it's stable. And so now is a good time to be localizing in multiple languages. Okay. All right. So I got a question here, whether I can move between stablecoins in Abra. And the answer is yes, you can. You can exchange between stablecoins. So you can move between TrueUSD and USDC and USDC and USDP, which is the Pax dollar. You can do that all within the Abra app. So if you need Tether, for example, you can trade your True USD to Tether and then withdraw the Tether to an ERC20 Tether wallet somewhere else if you need to. Okay, so let's see what else. Yeah, if you have trouble getting the confirmation SMS, it went by so fast. I'm sorry, I don't know who asked the question. There is a voice option in the app for, getting a callback as opposed to an SMS. And so your friend should try that if they're not getting the SMS. Sometimes in certain countries, like in India, I've seen, for example, or certain parts of Europe, I've heard that people have a problem getting the text message. And if that happens, like I said, you can just literally get a callback from Abra's service provider, and they will read you the number, and you can type it into the app then. Okay. Yeah, so advanced order types. This is probably make this the last question because we're 15 minutes over. So yes, we are working on advanced order types, stop, limit, et cetera, et cetera. We'll start with significant improvements to trading later early next year, excuse me. And that will be followed by more advanced order types. I'm not going to give all the details away today, but I've seen it. It's cool. A lot of testing going on. We're going to get it right before we bring it to you, and I'm very excited about it. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. So keep asking your questions on social media. If you want to respond to the video on Facebook or the video in the Twitter feed, we will answer your questions there. So you don't have to worry if we didn't get to your questions. And in the meantime, look, have a wonderful holiday. And I think that, I don't know. My feeling is that this whole kind of COVID thing is about to end. I think this Omicron is a blessing in disguise because it's less deadly and it's spreading like wildfire. I think it's actually going to bring an end to COVID by probably April or May of next year. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor, but the numbers seem to be playing out. Anyway, I love all of you. Peace and love. Have a wonderful holiday with your families. I hope you get some downtime. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you don't, have a great time with your family and have a wonderful New Year's. I don't think we're going to do a show next week. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll probably be traveling somewhere where we don't get connectivity. So we will probably see you the week after. And until then, have a great holiday. Take care of each other and stay safe.